This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for May 19th, Wednesday, 2022. Let's get into it. Again, we're starting off in the Discord room. We're here all day, hanging out, posting charts, posting trade updates, ideas, just going through the markets. We've been nailing this stuff. If you're following, your account should be green and showing that the actions you have taken have proved to be correct. Congratulations to the family. I know a bunch of you guys are absolutely hitting monster home runs. Let's talk to the people who are newer or watching this for the first time. If you are not familiar with what we're up to, please check out the link in the description below. I like to help people who literally want to help themselves. I know a lot of traders who come in are usually one step, one technique switch, something, just one thing is off that they need to fix, and they're going to start to make money consistently. That's who I really cater to. I really like helping people because I've literally made every mistake myself probably a dozen times, so I know how to counteract and balance such things. Trading is not easy. I tell that to people all the time. And again, in a probability game, you have to have a probability mindset. That's what we trade based on. That's how we run it. If you are new to trading, or even if you've seen me trolling on Twitter, because I love just making fun of people who believe in certainty, because certainty will get you killed at some point. Just trust that. Like, that's the fact. You know, believing that you can't go higher or lower on a trade that you're down on can blow out your account. And that's typically how the game ends for most traders. We do not ever advise that. Again, check out the Discord room. Link is in the description below. There is tons of content, from reading, reference articles, how to trade, anything. My recaps, all like trade alerts, beginner chat. It's all there. Start with Bitcoin as we always do. Said this a bazillion times over the last couple weeks. It's either playing like this or it's going to play like that. And if right now you are a Bitcoin bull, you need to see the price take off and leave the 29,000 area. If not, it could get choppy, it could get sloppy, and it even could get crushed. I mean, that's the problem with chop at a inflection point, is that you don't want to stay there too long, because if there's no demand, you're going to find out within a couple of days. Because think about it. If no one wants to buy it at a discount, what does that mean? Then the discount isn't heavy enough to bring in enough buyers to get the price up. So that's just my warning on Bitcoin. Again, be safe, be smart, have stops. Let's get into it, because again, we've just absolutely been on top of a ton of things that are doing well. Now again, you can't hit them all. Can't hit them all. TLT is one of them. Got in down here, sold some on the pop at the 8-day, said it could hit the 20-day and the channel low. What happened? It bounced off of it, said set your alarms to fill the gap in the 114s. I personally did not take that trade. People are like, well, Dan, why? Because I think there's better trades out there. If you're into this video and you want to see, stick around for the oil stuff, because that is our biggest hitters right now. That's our biggest short. Again, people are like, I can't believe you're shorting oil. Well, I can't believe you're not seeing it. TLT, what do we say? 200 month, and probably at worst the 112s, because it's a double bottom from the 2018 lows. It's bouncing. Again, I don't believe in V bottoms. I tell people that all the time. Here you had a higher low potentially. There was your next entry to add. I would say at this point currently, tough to chase. You got to get over the 20-day. Notice what happens. I mean, even you had a little test over, but for the most part, look what's happened since the highs. Once you got under the 20-day, it acted as resistance. I know that was a little flicker over, but 20-day is now your next line in the sand. Get over it. Nicer things can happen. The dollar. Man, a lot of people just think the dollar is dead, and it's tough to say that, because the action, I mean, I've said multiple times, check the monthly. Always start on the monthly. You're breaking out of this channel here, and I mean, if it's going higher, 29, something like that seems logical. I always tell people, when debt is being destroyed, it needs to find a home. And the liquidation of debt usually is in a certain currency. And the currency of choice for debt destruction, people would like to get paid in dollars. If they're going to take a monster loss on their debt, the debtor is going to ask for dollars, and dollar demand creates dollar strength, which puts the dollar up. Seems very logical. The VIX, if you've been paying attention at all, what did we, gosh, I mean, it's, people are like, how are you right so often? It's because, like, I know the past. I predict patterns based on history. I know VIX termination. I say that all the time during OPEX. Don't be surprised if they go after the VIX and knock it down. We got up to the range highs and it backed off for 5 days, and we said watch the mid 20s. Well, what was the low? 25.43. That's pretty much the mid 20s. If you want to argue with me, fine. Look what happened. You bounced. Now again, have we capitulated? Absolutely not. I've warned people. This is not capitulation action. This more like reminds me of 2000s, where you had just higher, you had a high blow off up into the, what was it, the 43. Keep in mind that you probably need to use the Vixen. I can't remember. Was the Vixen available in those time frames? Let's just, again, brain farting. No, it only came around 2012. That's what I thought. So you have to use the VIX, because the VIX, remember, is SPY driven. But keep in mind, the biggest blow up in 2000s was what? .com. So with a grain of salt, just look at this action. Notice how the VIX sustained higher lows and higher highs. Well, we haven't had a blow off into the 40s, even 50s yet, right? No. So look what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for the first top. And then again, the VIX will come back down. The market will get a little comfortable. It'll probably rally. And then it might get shit canned if this is really a bear market. And then look what happened following. I mean, the volatility in the early 2000s was insanely low. Like, you couldn't even... I remember seeing the VIX in the 10 and the 11s as commodities just went flying higher and tech went nowhere. It literally boggled your mind. Because you went from a time and place where the VIX like lowest level was in the like 17, 18, but held out in the 20s and 30s for very long periods of time. So Dan, bottom line, what are you saying? I'm saying you can't really trust the market's bottomed until what? We get the blowout. We haven't got like the major crash underway kind of feeling in my mind. Well, where's the upside? I mean, again, we said in the 40s. I mean, think about it. If you think the Feds are going to navigate a soft landing, oh my God, what are you smoking? Because that's just not going to happen, y'all. That's just not going to happen. Anyway, be patient. Now, every day doesn't mean it's going to drop or pop. I mean, just watch the markets. Talked about this yesterday with the SPY, and hopefully you had the Stock Traders Almanac. Everyone's so excited, and everyone's like, 410, and it's just like, channel low, pop, 410, everybody's calling for it, gap and trap. And if you didn't close your longs, you are a sucker. Because again, in a bull market, it's okay. In a bear market, you have to take your longs off because the market's going lower. I mean, ultimately stuff goes lower, so you can't be holding your longs. You have to be very quick with your up moves. So sip on some coffee. That's what I'm about to do. Look at the Qs. What do we say? What have we been saying? I mean, I review this all the time in the video. This is the first close below the 20 month after breaking it. All along the way, held it. You break it, come back. You break it, you come back. You break it, you come back. We're breaking it, and we ain't coming back. That's the start of the bear market. I'm just trying to educate you guys. This is what happened from in the top of the tech bubble. I mean, you had a 50% correction in March, April, and May. That was ugly times then. Now, then it rallied back up as we talked about, but what is this? This was the capitulation. I mean, think about it. 120 down to 63. Now, are the Nasdaq's going to correct 50% from the highs? I mean, if you do the math, it puts it around in the twos. I mean, either 260 or 2 something, low 210, 215, 220. That would be my near-term downside in the Qs. People think that I'm crazy for that, but it's, again, I'm not like making this up. I'm just basing it on repeating patterns. IWM, we've said this is always going to lead lower, lead higher. It peaked in November, has led lower. There's nothing bullish about it. However, it did bounce, which is cool. It should bounce, right? It held the 2018 and pre-COVID highs, right? It held. Perfect. All right, bull market on? No, just it's got to chop. I mean, I always tell people straight line moves typically come at the end, right? They typically come at the end, okay? You want this choppy, sloppy action because guess what? It leads to lower prices if you're a bear. And again, if you're somebody who's just all in all the time, I feel bad for you because the market ultimately does this. It goes through periods of absolute destruction and reset. When the Fed start pulling liquidity, the liquidity is what pulled the market up to insane levels. So you have to understand that. Like, reversion to the mean. So if it can be irrational up, don't think for a second it can't be irrational down. Come on, let's think about this, folks. Please. Gold, I've said this a bazillion times. People think I'm trolling them on Twitter, and it's like, dude, I've been in the wrong position in gold. I've traded it many times. It's very tricky. One of the things I don't do is buy it during bear market smashes because, again, the best time to buy it, and we'll show you right now on the weekly. There was COVID smash, right? Capitulation, then bounce back. It was rising nicely. I mean, we couldn't. I've been trading gold for a while, called the bottom down here. When was it the best time to buy it in 2018, right? When? On the smash, capitulation in October. Remember? And then it rose. Like, don't get it twisted like gold can't drop. It doesn't have the 2000 prices, I forget. Just be aware. Like, that's just not reality here. Now, again, gold will probably bottom first, and people are like, oh, you hit your levels. I'm like, but the market ain't. Market ain't even come close. I mean, again, if gold can act like this during this action, what is telling you it's time to buy gold? I apologize if I come off like a dick, but the market is breaking down, and so is gold. I know people, hey, it's not as ugly. I agree, but it's still down. It's not going to zero like some of these other crappy stocks that people bought, Peloton, Zoom, SPACs, ARK, whatever, zero, I don't know, low. No, gold's going to hold, but what are the levels? Like, you can't break below it and expect it to really rally back that strong unless the market, capitulates. Please, don't get it twisted. Silver, same kind of thing. Like, I've always told people, like, the best times to buy silver is on the blow-offs. Look at this monster bear, look below, and then rip. I mean, that was COVID. And it went from, 12 up to 28. Not bad. Where are we at? Not there yet. Again, the markets haven't capitulated. Like, I love this level here. Clearly it matters. But I'm not naive to the fact that it can't go lower. I mean, look at this action. Look at this action. We warned you guys in April. I mean, literally April 20th, there's a video. Like, take your money off. And we had to. And again, did we get the tops? No, because we thought we'd go higher. But guess what? We did not marry our beliefs. I always tell people that. Like, nice gains, don't marry your beliefs because you can be wrong. And look what's happened. Saved myself a ton of money. A ton, a shit ton, whatever you want to call it, a ton, a lot. What about GDX, Dan? No, sir. I like it down here. You can see my levels, but I'm just not going to be the first one. I don't want to be the pilot of the ship that goes nowhere. There's better trades out there shorting certain things, and that's the reality. It's like your money can go in so many places, financially, fiscally, whatever you want to call it. Your money can get stuck in a nothing trade, or you could be shorting or buying or doing whatever you need to do to make more money. And again, just because I like something doesn't mean I believe it goes up 365 days a year. AG, I mean, the same story. I'm going to run through these quick. Love it down here, waiting. AEM, I like it in the mid 40s. We're not there yet. NFGC, started buying this at 470. Look, I'm telling you, somebody's going to buy this company out. They've got the potential. You look at the monthly, again, if it holds 5, great. I bought 500 shares, which is cookies. I'd like to buy more. I'll buy it when I think gold has actually really, like, bottomed. And again, it could bottom first and then retest. That's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting some sort of retest. Notice how these things do that. Pass. I mean, pass on it. But again, look at the monthly. I mean, if you see this thing down in the 16, 17 range, capitulating, I think it's a buy. Keep in mind, look at this long wick and post-COVID 10 up to 39. Like, that's when I want to buy, is on the blowout. We're not blowing out yet, y'all. I mean, go look at the monthly. Does that look like a blowout? Does this look like a blowout to you? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Well, this and that. All right, just whatever. Letter X said, love this name. Great quarter. Don't buy it. Someone's gonna on the message board like, oh, I'm buying this company because it's going back to 38. Well, it ain't getting there anytime soon because the market is dictating flow, and flow is dictated by the current selling of stocks. Like VALE, we said this yesterday. It's probably a short here at the 20, 200-day. Nice little gap down. All these names, love them. CCJ, people are, man, the Iranian people are just they just love to lose. They're worse than silver people because, again, at least silver just, like, doesn't have much downside. Uranium sometimes in these names have gone absolutely bonkers, and they think, I don't know how to explain it. They think that they can't lose by buying something. And I've told people this, paper. This is all just paper. This is all paper. CCJ, what did we say? Like 200 day, probably going to be a sell. And then what happened? Keep in mind, same guy who was telling you to sell up in the high 30s. Why? Because it was the 0.5%, not high 30s, low 30s. Thinking of X. This level, we said it was probably going to resist. What happened? Resisted. Now, again, I like CCJ long term, but Dan, why aren't you buying it? Because the market ain't done. Jesus. I mean, you say this over and over, and people just, I mean, that FOMO is real. Like, this thing could drop another 20, 30% before it does the double that everyone's hoping it is. What happens if it doesn't do the double? Now you're really screwed, and you're holding on to a loser. I got better things to do with my time. I love these names. I love Mosaic, for example. I love CF. Overbought, selling. Said this yesterday, 50-day. Probably not going to hold. CF said retested the highs. Watch it. Fail. Tech. Oh my. If you were following yesterday, what did we say? 50-day, even a little higher. Don't be surprised. Look what happened. We got up there, boom, reverse down. Tech is just a short. I've told people this over and over. Just leave it alone. Apple, nice bounce. Doji, burnt. I mean, again, we talked about it, held this trend and bounced back. But what are we thinking long term? I have almost like a permanent short on in these names from the highs, and I'm not going to let them go. I take money. I rotate money. I take a third off, or I've taken thirds off. Oh shit, it was quarter, and it basically left me with a third on AMD, QQQ, and Apple. And those shorts will not be removed. I was hoping for higher pops, but you know what? It didn't happen. And guess what? I'll just hold on to what I got. People are like, well, what do you do with your money? Yeah, I actually shorted oil. And that's what we're going to get into soon. Roblox staying over 20-day. We talked about this was going to pop. It's a nice pop. If you do the math, 22 to 34, that's a hell of a pop. How much upside? I don't know. Again, I think they get bought out at some point. I'm the idiot that believes that. We'll see. Tesla. Broken record. This is how an uptrend dies. You have a nice smooth uptrend, then blowout. Blowout leads to, look at this. I mean, this is just a freaking mess. I don't know how to trade this confidently other than you sell pops. It's done. I mean, it's absolutely done. People are like, no, it's not, Dan. It just went parabolic, had an upper channel, broke out of this upward facing channel, and broke the 20-month. But Dan, no, don't argue with me. Argue with the chart. Like, this is not bullish. Like, if you want to convince me this is bullish, flip it upside down. The direction it's facing is not bullish. I'm just sorry. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you will hold this and you will lose money, and it probably goes nowhere for a while. And ultimately, Elon Musk, whatever, who cares? The stock is broken. Speaking of fundamentals, here you go. Love this company. Own this for the IRA. Own this in my retirement accounts because I get stock from EXP when I sell houses. It looks like crap. We are absolutely dominating everybody with our virtual company, keeping the overhead lower, giving real estate agents more of their own commissions for their sales. Stuck under the 20-day. It's dead. Here's UTHR for my friend Mike here. Where is it? Said this company gets bought out. What have we said? Double bottom, quadruple, whatever bottom. I mean, it's just chopping to higher chopness. I guess if higher chopness is a word. It's holding up really well. Look at the monthly of this versus other biotech. It's somebody's holding it up, and it ain't me. Let's end it on oil, because this is where the best trades have been for me, my friends, the family. What do we talk about with Tesla? Nice smooth channel, and then a blowout top. There's your blowout top on oil. Here is the continuous chop. Well, guess what? It's options expiration, y'all. And what have we talked about a dozen times is you look for extremes and you look for potential tops or an options expiration in the first and last 3 days of a month. As I sip on coffee, look at this chart. You back test the channel. You look above resistance in blue. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. We said you got to short it up here. Everything is not awesome. The market is going lower. Oil will not be immune. Nothing is safe. 83.60 got down to like 78.60. This is a gap and trap. Gap and trap. Gap and trap. gap and trap, going lower. Now again, how low? Man, y'all have to remember. Again, you stop staring at the daily chart all day. Sometimes zoom out. Like, look at oil. It was down in the 20s. Like, remember at the bottom, oil was done. The end of the world. Look at all this volume. Somebody had to accumulate that, and they've been distributing it all the way up. And so what does that mean, Dan? Oh, well, it took time to distribute up at the highs. They got a really good price. This chop could take as long as it needs, but every time it pops, you should short the highs because oil will not be immune. We're in a bear market. Wake up. ExxonMobil. We said watch the range highs. Oh, slightly higher high. I know, but look at the volume. Look at the compressed action. Every time it gets up there. Same thing. I think you can short it. People don't zoom out, realize like the stock went from 20, 30, was it 30? Yeah, 30, 31, up to the 90s. Like, this is ExxonMobil. This is a dinosaur of a company with oil. Great company that's run pretty well, I think, but that's a huge move. It's a huge move for this behemoth. Telling me that people aren't taking profits up here with demand destruction potentially from oil. High prices are the cure for high prices, like they bring in supply. XOP talked about it. Look for the lower high. It ended up being like a perfect, like, little trendy touch. Look at that. And then fail. Oh, it hit the 20-50 day. Of course it bounced today. Take some of your drip off if you really have to. I don't care, because typically what follows the gap and trap is lower lows. You had like this weird top in April. Remember April? We were talking about commodities topping. Literally, it was like a day early. 420. Said 420. Boom. Lower highs. Lower lows will be coming. I hope this stuff helps again. I'm trying to just make people aware of what is going on. I mean, I know you're going to watch CNBC and someone's going to say something and it's going to trigger your belief system to do the wrong thing. That's what markets do. Be careful who you listen to, who you take as advice, because again, the market is a discounting mechanism in the future. I keep telling people, like, what is there to look forward to at this point? Lower inflation, I guess. And then what? Like, think about what's going on in the world. Like, what if the feds have to unwind their balance sheet and wages aren't going higher? There's nothing to look forward to. The risk is all to the downside. If interest rates die higher, oh God, I mean, let the capitulation happen, let the pop, then we'll see what happens. Because if we get a capitulation sell-off and the market rises for a few months, wouldn't be surprised. But then after that, it is all game for who knows, probably more bear. And people don't want to hear that, but I promise you, look at the why. Why would you say that, Dan? Why? Well, let's pull up the monthly. The Qs have been the leader. Look at this nice smooth channel. Then you get even more steep, and then you get steep stupid. Qs went from 27 to 400 and almost, 8 or whatever, 409. There was a time when the Qs did this, and they corrected 90 freaking %. Is the Qs going to correct 90%? No, but money rotates. Bear markets follow what? Bull markets. If you don't think this is bearish action long term, come by the Discord room and explain to me what is going to get the Qs to raise higher. Tell me how these, I guess phase 4 breakdowns and stocks that have dropped 80 and 90% are going to rally back to the highs, and people are going to get excited about Peloton and Zoom and the ARC companies and all these, Carvana, all this bullshit that overvalued. It's not coming back. Just not. Money's going to rotate to the names that are better for the long term. And if you're not familiar with what's going to win long term, go to my Twitter page, look at the pinned video. Back to basics, tech war. Who wins? It's not tech. Telling you that now. Talk to you guys and gals later. See you in the Discord room. A link in the description below. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.